Yo, 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 what is going on, CoD Familia? It is your boy BN, aka Mr. Kingdom Builder. Today we're going to be continuing down the rabbit hole of our top 25 game-wide stats series, covering the top 25 kingdom/KVK groups that have been doing the most fighting this month and at the time at which we collected. As always, I have to note my couple prefacing points, which is that number one, this data was collected yesterday on September 18th across about a 2-hour window. Number two, the kingdom range we have here, I believe we looked at 1 through about 199, almost 200 or maybe 200. We'll show you here in a moment. And then number three, keeping in mind that once that time has finished, I believe we did this kind of closer to the afternoon. So for me, this would have been, maybe around like 18 to 20 UTC, somewhere give or take an hour or two in there. And so remember, afterwards or after that time from yesterday, any data you look at or stats you look at now, of course, will inherently be stronger or more points. Number four, again, as always, I'll keep mentioning it. If home kingdom leaderboards were added, it would allow for us to just pull a lot more accurate data based on what those individual kingdoms are looking like, factoring into their KVK groups. And then if we didn't have, if we had no alliance cap resets where players weren't forced out of their alliance specifically, but players were able to stay within their alliance. So the example, easy one I always give is if you got 155 players out of 170, when the next season comes up, instead of those 155 players having to leave the alliance, they stay in the alliance, but then you just reset the member capacity end, right? So it would go from 40 to 80, right? Because from season 1, it's 40 when you start a new alliance. In season 2, it's 80 when you start a new alliance. So basically that front number stays the same, so players don't have to leave the alliance, but that back number, which is your member capacity, right, that would change. So hopefully we'll see those being done in the future. I do have a suggestion up for home kingdom leaderboards. So again, if you believe in that, if it's something you understand, and you can get behind, of course, there will be a link in the description if you want to go vote on that. Number 5 here is, again, to view the sheet, right, which is we're looking at the master sheet right now. I have a public sheet that's available for anyone to view. You can find a link to that on the Discord. All you have to do for that one is, and I'll show you that right now. I don't know if I'm going to be able to, let's do it like this. Bam, scrolling down. Where's my Discordio? Here we go. So you'll go here. When you come in, you go reaction roles. You will select Call of Dragons, and then we'll go bump. Where is it? Call of Dragons. And then you go down here to where it says data stats, and then you'll be able to find all of those lovely linkos. So let's head on back. And then lastly, as always, right, if you guys are interested in supporting more than just being or able to, or if you're interested in being more, I don't know why I keep saying more, but aside from being a viewer and or a subscriber, which we always appreciate, I do have a Patreon for those that are interested in subscribing to that to help us on our journey to become a full-time content creator. You can find a link to that in the pinned comment description down below. Alrighty, there's my super fast intro out of the way. Not really. Hopefully it'll get faster later on. Now, let's go ahead and finally do our reveal for the top 25 kingdoms right now that have been doing the most amount of fighting thus far. So here we go on our reset. And you can see we will, as usual, kind of work this bottom up. So you got Kingdom 196 at number 25. They got 130 mil merit points. Kingdom 189 at number 24, 130.59 million merit points. Number 23 is 198 at 137 million merit points. Number 22 is Kingdom 200, the youngest kingdom on the boards, at least for this month. 150 million merit points. Number 21, 197, 154 million merit points. Number 19, number 20, 201. So 201 actually is the youngest. Look at that. Totally misspoke there. I thought it was 200. 158.7 million merit points. Number 19, 186, or Kingdom 186 at 174 million merit points. Number 18, Kingdom 185 at, coincidentally, 185 million merit points. Number 17, we got S137. That's Kingdoms 137 to 144 at 235 million merit points. Number 16, Kingdom 1 84 at 247 million merit points. Number 15, breaking top 15, 192 at 279 million merit points. Number 14, 183 or K183 at 322.1 million merit points. Number 13, S1-38, 145 to 154 for the Kingdoms, 322.93 million merit points. Number 12, getting close to that top 10, S1-36, 131 through 136 Kingdoms, 472 million merit points. Starting to see some jumps now from 13 to 12. Number 11, S1-35, Kingdom 127 to 130, 579 million merit points. Then we get to our top 10 at number 10, S1-33, 119 through 122, coming in at 806 million merit points. Then we get to number 9, S1-34, 123 through Kingdoms 126, 868 million merit points. So a smaller jump. Number 8, S1-32, Kingdom 115 to 118, 1.21 million merit points. Finally breaking our million merit point threshold. Number 7, S1-30, 107 to 110 for the Kingdoms there at 1.29 million merit points. Number 6, S1-27, Kingdoms 99 through 102 at 1.34 million merit points. And then we break into our top 5 at number 5, S1-26, Kingdoms 91 through 94, 1.576 million merit points. Number 4, really close as well, S1-31, Kingdoms 111 through 114, 1.578 million merit points. So you only got about, 1.7 million? That's really separating them. Then breaking into the top 3, we got at number 3, S1-26, Kingdoms 95 through 98, 1.63 million merit points. Number 2, S1-29, 103 through 106, 1.81 million merit points. And then the kingdom that has been fighting the most thus far, based on where they currently are in their season, which usually we notice higher merit points are typically more towards the end of their seasons. S1-28, 11 Kingdoms 11 through 21. At 1.89, almost 1.9 million merit points. Now, the thing as I just mentioned, to keep in mind is that we do this every month. And one of the big points I like to make in this is that there is no way to ultimately line up kingdoms at the end of everyone's season to then go and do this data collection, because seasons are ending at different times. So an example would be you have a lot of the S1 plus kingdoms, or a couple of those groups, but quite a few of the kingdoms that are about to go into Season 2. Specifically, 11 through 21 is about to go, and then I think we also have S91 through 98, maybe up to 103. I can't remember the hard numbers there, but give or take, these kingdoms are about to go into Season 2. So it's understandable why they're at the top of the boards. They're closer. They've already been doing a lot of fighting. And then obviously some of these other kingdoms are kind of middle end, almost to the end of their season. Just like we ended up seeing last month when we did the data. You saw multiple kingdoms, right, where it just lined up. A lot of the kingdoms we did, a lot of these were in that 1 through 90 group. And so you're noticing a lot of those were towards the end of their season. So they were able to get, had already accumulated a lot of points at that point, is what we mean. With that in mind, though, like I said, we looked at kingdoms 1 through 201 here, noticing that you did have some that were still in their season 1 breaking through, the highest there being 183 at 322 mil. And it's interesting because we're just not really seeing, and maybe we'll see this over the next couple months, but when you look at previous numbers, right, like let's go back here and look at some of these numbers were a lot higher than that. Right, if you're talking about kingdoms that were a couple or a good amount within the first 90, well, you're noticing decent merit points that are being accumulated. Now you're at 322 kind of being the high. We'll have to see if that trend continues going into the end of Season 1s, if we start noticing that, well, hey, are we going to keep getting decent merit point numbers? But oftentimes you can argue that's subjective. It just depends on how lawless a kingdom is, or how well organized a kingdom is on their war games, right, or doing PvP events. It's kind of one of those two realms that it falls under. If you have high PvP points, usually in most cases it's because there's just a lot of fighting or a lot of war, usually. In the kind of smaller, more minority cases, it's where kingdoms are hopefully doing, or ones that are attempting to do a good job of organizing war games and PvP events internally within the kingdom for the player base. However, with that in mind, would love to hear your guys' thoughts. Right, it is hard. Again, I know I've been mentioning this recently about doing the differentials. That is difficult, mainly just because of the way that the seasons are ending. There's no way to really time and line it up where it would make sense, in my opinion, to do differentials where we're showing kind of who's up, who's down, just because it really depends on what time in the season that specific kingdom is at. So for that reason, right, this is just more of, and the other point I was trying to make before, which is, you can almost view this as a way of saying, oh, well, if I want to go check in on this kingdom, or if I want to maybe look at some of the alliances there in that kingdom that are fighting a lot, you can look at it as a way of, oh, maybe I'll make an account there and go try and look. Maybe I'll do a little bit of fogging. Maybe I may consider migrating these kingdoms to one of these kingdoms because they fight a lot, right? You can use this data on this board to gauge a couple different things. So, hopefully it helps in some capacity. And at worst case, maybe you just enjoy being able to see which kingdoms are fighting the most in any given moment, or at least when we do these once a month. So even if it's that, I'm happy. As always, I hope you enjoy. That's going to do it for me. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Until next time, I will catch you later.